Hello and welcome to How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life. My name is Stacey Morgan and today's episode is brought to you by Guilt Be Gone, the 2-night program that helps you work smarter and make time in life for the things that really matter. You can join us by registering now at simplystaceymorgan.com. Today, we're talking about goals and actions. So many of us are ruled by our to-do lists, and so many of the times we get confused as to what is going to be the priority for our to-do list today. Sometimes we spend so much of our time just going through things that are perhaps not so important. We tick the things on our to-do lists off that are easy and not necessarily the things that are most important. And it's really important, if we want to be productive and make the most of our time, that we really understand the difference between our goals, our actions, and the things on our to-do list. And that's what we're talking about in today's episode. If you want our tangible takeaway for today, you can download that at simplystaceymorgan.com/downloads. It's really important that goal setting becomes part of the strategy of your business and of your life. Now, we do lots of goal setting as part of our programs here at simplystaceymorgan.com. Our Thrive Masterminders do some goal setting as part of the Mastermind program. Of course, we do goal setting as part of Guilt Be Gone as well. So if you're joining us for Guilt Be Gone, then we're going to be expanding on this topic. But setting some goals for yourself that are really tangible, things that are really not so big that you're not going to achieve them, but they're things that have been on your list or been on your radar, things that you really want to achieve and things that you really want to get done. It's really important to identify those things in your business and really make time to be able to figure out how you're going to do them and how you're going to action them. And sometimes goal setting can be scary for people. People don't want to actually write down what they want to do out of fear that they will never have time to do them. And what I like to say to my clients when they protest, when I tell them we're going to be doing some goal setting, is that, it doesn't have to be something that's scary. It doesn't have to be, they don't have to be, aiming for the moon when it comes to their goal setting. It can be really practical, tangible things that will really help them move their business forward and help them get life prioritized and get time in life for the things that matter to them, because that's different for everybody. So I encourage you to think about the goals that you want to set for yourself and for your business, and to start by doing a brain dump and writing down some of these things that come to mind. When I'm doing a brain dump for goal setting, I like to pull out the big collection, which you can probably see behind me in my bookshelf. That is all the notes and things that I've collected from all the professional development I've done over the years. And those books are full of ideas and full of goals that are long forgotten about. But when I like to do a brain dump when it comes to goal setting, I like to pull them all out and have a flick through and see if there's anything that is still quite relevant. And, you see notes in those notebooks about, crazy ideas that you think now that will never work. Why did I write that down and put a big circle around it and put a big star next to it? That is not going to happen. But occasionally you'll find a gold nugget in there of something that you have forgotten about that you would like to action. And I encourage you to start thinking about those goals. And for those of you who are a bit frightened about goal setting, because you think, I don't have time to do the things I'm doing right now, how am I going to set some goals and then try and fit those into my schedule as well? The game changer for me when it came to that quandary and to goal setting and finding time to get these goals actioned is that whilst the goals may be yours, when it comes to the action steps, it's not necessarily going to be you doing the action steps all the time, especially if we're talking about goals in your business or goals in your family. And so don't be afraid. Don't be scared of setting goals because you think, I'm not going to have time to do this, so this is a complete waste of time. Have a think about the goals that you want to set for yourself, for your business, for your family, and then have a think about who is the support team that you have working around you that can really help you turn those goals into actions. Because a big part about goal setting is being able to communicate those goals with other people, to be able to communicate exactly how you're feeling, why it's important to you, what it means, and what it would mean to actually achieve that goal. Whether that outcome is going to be financial, whether that outcome is going to be time, whether that outcome is going to be impact. It's really important to be able to share that and communicate that with your the stakeholders that are part of this process with you, whether that's people that are going to help you out or people that it's actually going to serve. So don't be afraid. That's my first tip. Goal setting can be enjoyable, and it's my job to help convince you of that. So you start with a big brain dump of all the things that are on your mind, and then I encourage you to prioritize. So whether you make your way through that brain dump and get a couple of different colored markers, maybe you select all the things that are really important to you to do or to get done really quickly in blue, maybe the things that can wait till next year are in orange, maybe the things that are 5 years down the track are in red. But circle each of the things that you have on your brain dump. Maybe there are things on there that you need to just cross out because you wrote it down, but then you went, actually, that's not something I want to do. I don't want to spend the time doing that, or that's actually not going to move my business forward, or that's going to be more of a pain than it's going to be worth doing. So you want to cross it out, and that's okay too. That's what a brain dump is all about. It's supposed to be just the emptying of all the thoughts and ideas. So I encourage you, once you've done that goal setting, and once you've had that big brain dump and prioritized all of the things on that list, I encourage you to then turn those things on the page onto a brand new page. Now, whether you want to take a page for each goal, or maybe you just want to put all 3 or 4 or 10 or 15 on the one page, that's completely up to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn these goals that you've come up with into actions, which is a really, really important part of this process. So many people will think of goals, they will do a goal setting exercise, and then they will grab that goal and stick that goal on their to-do list. Become healthy on the to-do list. Well, that's really hard to cross off. And I love crossing things off on my to-do list, and I'm sure you do as well. And being healthy is not something you're going to be able to cross off on that list. So let's use that as the example. Once you put that on a blank piece of paper on its own, you have to think about, okay, what does it mean? How am I going to get to that? What does the finished product look like? What does healthy look like? And how am I going to get there? Because the how am I going to get there part is the action steps. And goals and action steps are two completely different things. And it's really, really important that you have a really good understanding of that. The action steps are the things that are going to step you closer to reaching that goal. And the to-dos are the things that are actually going to go on your to-do list that you're going to be able to do and cross off on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. They're going to step you towards that goal. Because quite often the goal can be so big that there are so many different moving parts within that. It's really hard to kind of just put it up there as one lofty thing that you want to happen. You really want to be able to break it down into smaller sections so that you can get a better understanding of exactly how you're going to tackle this goal. So under each goal that you have, you then want to break it down into action steps. And to begin with, again, you just do it as a brain dump. It doesn't have to be a formulated list of I'll do this followed by this, and I must do this before I do this. Because often, I don't know about you, my brain doesn't work like that. My brain will just be like, this will happen at the end. And I need to do this at the start. And somewhere in the middle there, I'm going to also need to tackle this. And so what I do, and that's why I kind of take one page for each idea or each goal, is I stick that in the middle of the page, and then I brain dump all over that page of all the things that need to happen in order for me to get where I want to go and achieve that goal. And turning those goals into action lists can be really, really valuable and can really make the big difference in helping you achieve those goals. So I encourage you, once you've done that, you've got them all on the list there, to then go through with your colored markers or with your pen or whatever suits you and think, okay, what's going to be the first thing that needs to happen? What is one thing on this list that I can do tomorrow or I can do next week that will step me closer to that goal? Because I tell you what, in goal setting and goal planning and creating action lists, momentum is super important. So you want to be able to find some things on that list that you can start actioning straight away that will give you some momentum that will start you moving towards that goal. There's nothing more unproductive than doing a goal setting task, writing it all down, having it all there in front of you, sticking it in a drawer, and then never looking at it again. That is not the way you're going to be able to reach those goals. You'll turn around at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter and go, hang on, what was that we were going to do again? Hang on, what is that? And I'm completely guilty of doing that as well. But I encourage you, don't do it. Don't go to the trouble of putting all the effort in and then decide that you are just going to leave it in a drawer. You want to make sure that these things are, that they're actionable, they're happening all the time, and they're things that you're working on. So I encourage you to grab that action list then. You've gone through the things. What are the things you're going to start with? What comes next? And what is going to be towards the end? And then rank those things. Either do an A, B, C, D system, do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 system, whatever suits you. Color it in with your colored markers and make sure you then have a good idea of what has to happen now and what's going to happen next. And then if you're afraid that you're going to lose momentum and you don't exactly know when you're going to get it all done, done, then get your calendar out and actually write these to-dos in. Okay, so this Monday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. On Tuesday, I'm going to tackle the next step. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to tackle what's after that. And then in 3 weeks' time, that means I'm going to have to tackle this and this and this. And, goals are so important when it comes to moving your business and your life forward, but it's really hard to achieve them if you don't give yourself a deadline. So my final piece of advice is once you've created that goal, once you've then gone about and brain dumped your action steps and put them in a rank order and programmed them in your diary so that you've got some momentum going forward, is I encourage you to set yourself a deadline. When will you have this done by? Or when will you have these little action steps done by? I'm writing a book at the moment, and I don't have an end date for the book itself, but I do have an end date for each of the chapters. And, by the end of this week, I will have done this and this and this chapter. And by the end of the next month, I will have done this and this and this chapter. And it really helps me to be able to think, not just I have to sit down and write my book, because I would just sit and look at the blank paper for hours on end, but instead, okay, I'm just doing this chapter today and this is what this looks like, and I can sit down and do that. And I encourage you to do the same thing with your action steps as well. Know what needs doing, know when you're going to do it, and know when it's going to be done by. If you want all of the hints and tips into this week's tangible takeaway, then you can download it at simplystacymorgan.com/downloads. I encourage you to set out some time in your calendar to do some goal setting this week. Or if you want me to hold your hand as you do it, I really encourage you to jump on in and join us for Guilt Be Gone. If you haven't joined us in our Facebook group, I totally encourage you to do that too. It's called How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life, and you can search for us inside the Facebook platform. Of course, we are here every week giving you bite-sized business tips and tangible takeaways to help you take your business and your life to the next level. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you next week.